I am a citizen of Israel, right? In my ID, my official Israeli ID, okay? It says my Ezrahut, right? Ezrahut is citizenship. It says my citizenship is Yisraelite, okay? Yisraelite translates as Israelite. It transliterates as Israeli. And in my passport, in the English part, it says Israeli, because they don't want you to know that Israel is already an Israelite state. This is why the Prime Minister of Israel 2 years ago tried to get official recognition for Israel to be declared a Jewish state. If it was a Jewish state already, the citizenship would read Yehudit. It doesn't. That's why people were asking at the time, why is he doing this? Because isn't Israel already a Jewish state? Right. No, it's not. Jewish is simply the religion of the state.
Right.
The official citizenship of this country is Israelite. Because according to the prophetic word of the Most High, he said, I'm going to bring the children that I have scattered to the four corners of the earth back into the land that I gave to their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Right.
And in that land, I'm going to make them one nation again. I'm going to bring the house of Judah and the house of Israel back into the land as two separate entities, and there make them one again.
Right.
So we established a nonprofit organization 2 years ago, whose objective officially under Israeli law, Israelite law, says we have an obligation to acknowledge that there are two houses of Israel, Judah and Israel,
Right.
and to bring them together within the boundaries of the state of Israel as one.
Right.
One Israelite nation.
Okay. So now, what he's saying is that officially this government is an Israelite state.
It's an Israelite state.
But with a Jewish or Judaism or Jewish sect religion.
It's exactly. The official religion of the country is Judaism. That's the official religion of the country.
Right.
That is not the official ethnicity of this country. The official ethnicity of this country is Israelite.
Who is that was trying to make it a Jewish state? Who is that person?
The Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. And when he tried to do that, it failed because his government collapsed. The government collapsed and they had to have new elections.
Right.
He was re-elected to Prime Minister last year.
Right, I remember that.
Okay. In September of last year, there was an article published by a religious group, a full-page ad in the Jerusalem Post that read, there can be no Israel without Joseph. That the 10 tribes have to return back to this land.
Right.
So what the Israeli government has started to do is to go to different places. They went into Africa, they've gone into Asia, calling themselves looking for the quote-unquote 10 lost tribes,
Right.
so that they can bring them back and make them Jewish.
Right.
Okay, but that's not the prophetic promise.
Right.
So the Most High said he would bring the houses back together. They would come back separate and he would make them one here in the land.
So the where we were at yesterday, the writers conference. What we saw with the Harry Rosenberg. We looked. There was a map. He mapped up all the children of Israel, supposedly the Northern Kingdom, and there was the program you showed all the dots. It had one dot on America, and it was in Chicago. So I said, well, there's more Hebrews in that in America. And then he said, well, they're not organized, which is a lie. It's a lie. It's a major lie.
Meaning they're not organized with his movement.
Right. They're not organized with his movement.
Right.
And that's because he came there
with that whole
trying to bring this Jewish thing, and that people are not buying it.
Right.
That's what, and so far they're right.
Right.
So, there's a disconnection that's going on in Israel with our people here from the community, and there's a disconnection going on with the Israelites in the Western world from what's happening over here in the politics ring.
Right.
And that deals with prophecy, how the Most High may use the Gentiles to bring us back as one house, to turn what they believe is going to be a blessing to them into a curse for them.
Well, it's like what happened with Cyrus, the Persian emperor, when our fathers were in captivity in Babylon. Now, logically speaking, he had no reason to let our people go.
Right.
But in Isaiah the 40th chapter, it says that the Most High used Cyrus. In fact, he termed him as his Mashiach.
Okay.
Said, he is my Mashiach who will free my people. So he was a Gentile.
Right.
He was a Gentile emperor.
Right.
But the Most High placed it in his heart to fulfill his will.
Right.
To cause him to issue a declaration that freed our forefathers and sent them back to this land
Right.
in order to rebuild the temple.
Right.
So, in like manner, in our day, the Most High placed it in the hearts of men to fulfill his will.
Right.
Because we have to remember, Theodore Herzl, initially, when he was talking about a Jewish homeland, he was talking about going to Uganda.
Right.
Okay? That was in 1904. 1905, he was dead.
Right.
And now all of that whole movement stopped going towards Uganda and was redirected to this land.
Right.
So we see the prophetic hand of the Most High moving through all of this. And this is what we have to always keep in the forefront, because he says, my ways are not your ways.
Right.
The way that we might have done it, probably would have been different, and undoubtedly wouldn't have worked.
Right.
But because the Most High is orchestrating this, he's moving the pieces into place according to his plan.
Right.
And this is what we have to see. We have to keep in mind the ultimate objective, which is our people to be here. Our organization is set up to represent our people who want to come back here, because according to the book of Malachi, said when we come back here, we're going to return back to the law that was given to Moses.
Right.
So
they know. I think we were talking before, and I think they know that by us coming back, when that paper came out, they're seeing this.
right.
They're seeing this with
Right.
from Telerod. In Telerod, they see brothers coming, make the paper,
Right.
sold on copies.
Right.
The first thing they see, headline news, is the Israelites returning, and they called us the House of Israel.
The house of Israel. Right.
And I keep the customs of
right.
the ancient ways.
Right. That's in fulfillment of prophecy. That's in fulfillment of what's written in the book of Malachi.
Right.
So we know that these are the times, because for these things to take place and to be announced, it's 2 times it happened. Okay? The Jewish group saying Joseph has to come back,
Right.
and then following Passover, the headlines.
Right.
The Israelites coming back and keeping the laws. So we're talking about, we're seeing these things being fulfilled right before our eyes. So it's on us now to come together and to make returning to Zion our collective objective.
That's the collective objective.
That has to be our foremost objective, that everyone has to recognize that this is the place that we're supposed to be. And all Israelites have a right to be in the home of the Hebrew Israelites.
I got a question, if you don't mind. Back to the whole Jewish state thing. Now you said, what year was that when Benjamin tried to do that?
2014.
So But I've been hearing about that like for many, many years. I'm sure he wasn't the only one. It was many pushes to try to do that. Am I correct?
It's come up on many occasions.
And they've all failed.
And they've all failed. They've all failed. When they initially, I've got a tape when they originally were trying to decide what to even call this land in 1948.
Right.
When they received the mandate to set up a quote unquote Jewish state.
Right.
You know, and there was many differences of opinion about what are we gonna call us? What are we gonna call ourselves?
Right.
You know? But in the end, they ended up going back to, well, I don't see how we get around calling it Israel.
So the state of Israel is different from saying a Jewish state of Israel.
Right.
That's what you're saying. It's two different things.
It's two different things.
So this push for a Jewish state is just really a push. It's never really been manifest. It's always been the state of Israel.
It's always been the state of Israel.
I never knew that.
It's always been the state.
I never knew that too.
The original.
Because I thought I've seen some documents where it said the Jewish state of Israel.
They say that because
They say
it all the
say
time.
that. They say it all the time. But it refers to the religion of the state. That's what it refers to. In order to receive certain benefits from the state, you have to take on the Jewish religion.
Like saying the Muslim state of Egypt or something like that.
Right.
The Christian state of America.